Hi, welcome to this Blender video tutorial entitled NURBS Surface Patch. Blender provides modelers with a number of NURBS surface primitives. One of these is called the NURBS surface, which is commonly referred to as a patch. To demonstrate the NURBS surface patch, I have a blank Blender scene displayed in top orthographic view. I'll press Shift-A and add a NURBS surface. The NURBS surface patch is displayed as a square, slightly rounded surface. I'll tab into Edit mode. The NURBS surface patch is actually 4 NURBS surface curves arranged and skinned to form a slightly rounded square. I'll select one of the control vertices and go to the Object Data Editor. In the Active Spline panel, I'll checkmark the U endpoint checkbox. I'll then add the V endpoint checkbox. Note that the Blender NURBS U direction is visualized with yellow segment lines, and the V direction is visualized with pink segment lines. This is one way that you can differentiate the U from V NURBS surface direction. The NURBS surface patch does not act much like the NURBS surface patch object that you might find in other 3D modeling applications. Blender does not provide any stitching or welding tools to stitch together multiple patches, nor does it provide any trimming tools normally used to trim one NURBS surface shape from another NURBS surface shape. Also, NURBS surface patches, in fact all Blender NURBS surfaces, can only be extruded from the outside control points. In the case of this patch object, only the 4 outside edges can be extruded or skinned to another patch. These inside control points cannot be extruded or skinned to other control points. In this sense, Blender's NURBS surface tools are not as fully developed as one might find in other 3D modeling applications. I suspect this is because many NURBS modeling techniques can be accomplished using regular polygonal mesh modeling techniques using the subdivision surface modifier. Nevertheless, Blender's NURBS surface objects do provide some very useful modeling functionality. I'll switch to side view and select these top control vertices and move them down to form a flat plane-like object. I'll then switch to top view and select these top control points and delete them. I'll do the same with the right side control points and with the left side control points. I now have a square, plane-like object consisting of 4 control points. I'll select the control points and subdivide them. Now I'm doing this to get a center set of control points. In top view, I'll select the 3 control vertices on the right, press the E key, and extrude them along the x-axis. I'll do this again 3 more times. I now have a flat ribbon-type object. I'll switch to front view and select one group of control vertices and move them up along the z-axis. Note that at this point the control vertices are located on the surface of the NURBS patch object. This is because the order is set to 2. I'll raise the U and V order to 3. This allows a nice curve to develop. I can now select any of the groups of control vertices and add curve to the ribbon-type object by moving them up or down along the z-axis. To get a smoother curve, I can select all of the control vertices, subdivide them, and raise the order to 5. If I need more control of the curve on this right section, I can select a control point, press Shift-R to select the row, hold my Shift key down and add another control point from this group, Then press Shift-R again so that both groups are selected, and then subdivide. I now have a new group to manipulate. One very useful Blender modifier to use with NURBS surface patches is the Solidify modifier. Here we will add a Solidify modifier to this ribbon-like object. And I'll set the thickness to 0.15. The NURBS surface patch works well for modeling curved surfaces, much like manufacturers would fashion flat sheet steel or flat steel bar into dimensional components. I'll delete this object and go to Top View and add a new NURBS surface patch object. I'll tab into Edit Mode and open up the Object Data Properties panel. Here I will checkmark Endpoint U and Endpoint V. I'll go to Side View, select the top control points and move them down along the Z-axis to form a flat plane. I'll switch to Top View, select the top sets of control vertices and delete them. I'll do the same on the right set of control vertices and also on the left set of vertices. I now have a flat NURBS surface patch consisting of 4 control points. I'll select the control points and subdivide. Blender's NURBS surface patch object is also quite useful for modeling multi-curved objects like tree leaves or flower petals. I'll go to Front View and select the top set of control vertices and extrude them twice up along the Y-axis. I'll select the top center control point and move it up a bit. I'll then select the next 2 sets of control vertices and scale them out a bit. I'll then select the next 2 lower sets of control vertices and move them down a bit. Then select the bottom set of control vertices and scale them in quite a bit. In the Object Data Properties panel, I'll set the U and V order to 3. I'll select the top center control point and set the weight for this control point to 8. This will cause the control point to pull harder on the surface, making a bit of a tip. I'll then select one of the right side control vertices and press Shift-R, selecting the whole row. I'll hold down my Shift key and select one of the left control vertices and then press Shift-R to add that row to the selection. I'll then go to Front View and I'll pull those control vertices up a bit along the Z-axis, giving a cup shape to the pedal. I'll select the bottom set of control vertices and extrude them out a bit along the Y-axis. I'll then raise the U order to 5, giving the pedal a softer curve. I'll then go to Side View, and I'll box select the second set of control vertices on the left. I'll then enable Proportional Editing and select Smooth Falloff. I'll then press the G key and making sure that the influence circle is larger than the object, manipulate it to get a nice curve. I'll then disable the proportional editing, select the end control point, and move it down a bit. Then select the next 2 control vertices and move them down a bit. I now have a nicely smooth curved pedal object. I plan to use an array modifier to form a number of petals. I'll select the end control point and press Shift-S and snap my 3D cursor to the selection. This places my 3D cursor to the end of the petal. I'll then tab out of Edit mode. I'll then set the object's origin point to the 3D cursor. I'll then press Shift-A and add an empty object to this very same position. And I'll name this empty object Petal Pivot. I'll then go to Top View and select the NURBSSurfacePatch object. In the modifier editor, I'll add an array modifier. I'll set the count to 6, and I'll checkmark Object Offset, and then select the Petal Pivot empty object as the offset object. I'll then uncheck Relative Offset, and I'll then select the Petal Pivot empty object and rotate it a bit until the 6 petals are evenly arranged around the empty object. I'll then go to Front View and place my 3D cursor above the petals. I'll then press Shift-A and add a NURBS surface sphere object to the scene. I'll scale the sphere down along the Z-axis and scale it down along the X-axis. I'll then move it into position on the top of the petals, and then scale it along the Y-axis. I'll then go to Side View and add a NURBS surface cylinder object. I'll scale it down quite a bit, and then place it below the petals. I'll then tab into Edit mode, and I'll box select the bottom set of control vertices. I'll then extrude them down along the Z-axis a number of times. In the Object Data Properties panel, I'll set the U and V order to 5 and checkmark Endpoint V. I'll then select some of the sets of control vertices and move them to create a more curved stem. Just to finish this off, I'll add a material to the petals, button, and stem. One last useful piece of functionality for NURBSSurfacePatch object is the modeling of landscapes. I'll delete these objects and go to Top Orthographic View. Here I will add a new NURBSSurfacePatch object. I'll tab into Edit mode and open the Object Data Properties panel. Here I will checkmark Endpoint U and Endpoint V. I'll then scale the NURBSSurfacePatch up quite a bit. I'll switch to Side View and select the top control vertices and move them down along the Z-axis to form a flat plane object. I'll then select all of the control vertices and subdivide the object 4 times. I now have a flat planar NURBSSurfacePatch object with a dense set of control vertices. I'll then enable proportional editing, and I'll select the smooth fall-off. I'll press the C key to enable circle select, and with my right mouse button down, roll over some of the control vertices. I'll right-click to confirm the selection, and then raise the control vertices up along the Z-axis. I'll repeat this process a number of times. I'll use different proportional fall-offs to create a landscape-type object. Using the NURBSSurfacePatch in conjunction with the proportional editing is a very good choice of tools for modeling landscapes and terrains.